restore and you want to help change lives, love suffereth long and is kind. If you just suffer like, man, they tripping, man. That's why I don't even go over there no more. I still got my membership because, you never know. But what I want y'all to understand is if you suffering and you ain't being kind, you're not showing a godly kind of love. Yeah. People, they're going to always come at an inconveniencing time when you're supposed to be doing something. I just want to talk to you for a minute. Well, if that's what you need to do, you need to do it. Make it right. But let me keep going. Because today, what some of us did was when people treated us wrong, we amputated them. We cut them off. But today, it's not about amputation. It's about restoration. Are y'all with me? What in your life is worth being restored? Who have you allowed to diminish your ability to give love? Because you got love inside you to give, but you won't give it because you're trying to hold something back. You're not hurting them because they're controlling your ability to show how beautiful that God made you. So who's in control? Them or you? Listen, I'm coming from a position of hurt. That man in the back, Dusty, he was in my life at a very, very, very difficult time where I was mixed up. I was angry because of relationships I had with my father. But instead of being angry, and he dealt with my anger, the Lord sent me somebody. Sometimes in your life, there's a thing called addition by subtraction. Some of y'all are upset about somebody that wasn't around, and if they would have actually been around, your life would have been worse. And then you think you lacking something. How many people die every day? You think you lacking something, but y'all sitting around people you love. Most of y'all watched last night. It don't smell bad. Everything good. You in a good place. Don't focus on what you perceive you lack. And for some of you, God has a question for you. Am I enough for you? Because if I'm enough for you, you're going to let me deal with them. If I'm enough for you, you're not going to worry about who came and who left or what you think you don't have. They did a survey of 100 people that lived 100 years. It adds up to 10,000 years of life experience. Their biggest regrets was, I wish I had kept less. Some of y'all are trying to pile stuff up, but when it's over, somebody going to take it and say, hey, thank you. They don't need it no more. They wish they had given more. It's better to give than receive, because when you got to receive, you got to hope. Hope becomes your ministry. I hope somebody show up with a sandwich because I'm so hungry. But when you have to give, that means you blessed. So they wish they kept less. They wish they gave more. They wish they had taken more chances in life. When you have unforgiveness in your heart, you can't even focus on your dreams because you got bad stuff in your heart. So you always distracted. And the second best version of yourself shows up. So you might do decent stuff, but you'll never do what you came here to do. And the last thing the people said was they wish that they had made more emphasis on their relationships. It's some of y'all that got people right now that you're going to have to make it right. Because if they pass before you deal with this, you don't know what that pain is like. When you had an opportunity to make something right and extend yourself to them. So let me make an editorial part. Well, first of all, when you see, when we don't forgive others, we have no claim to God's forgiveness. That's it. Zero claim. Think about that. Is that person worth you not being seen and appreciated and forgiven by God? Is that thing worth it? I would hope not. And if it is, I'm going to direct you to the pastor. I got a plane to catch. And because that's going to take some time. Now, what Jesus did, what God does for us, he blesses us in the blink of an eye. He forgives us in the blink of an eye. Now, it might not happen like that for y'all and me, because I was upset for years. I was angry for years. I was hurt for years. But you have to start the process of acknowledging your pain, because you cannot address what you have not acknowledged. Are y'all with me? All you know is every time somebody says a certain thing, you get angry, but you never get to where it came from. But let me take an editorial pause for a minute. The book of Hosea says, my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. Let me break this down to y'all. In 2017, that doesn't apply to us. Because back then, we were trying to get the knowledge out. We don't need one more piece of knowledge to walk the way God wants us to walk. You don't have a knowledge problem. You have an application of knowledge problem. If you just apply what you know, we say that prayer, forgive us our trespasses, and then we just say, I ain't doing that. So you got the knowledge. So why won't you apply the knowledge? Because when you don't do that, God says, you're my servant. You're my messenger, and I'm about to handle you because you dishonoring me, because I put these people in your life for you to bless them, to help restore them. See, some of y'all have so much stuff happen to you that you feel like you buried, but really, in essence, you actually been planted. God did not bury you, but he has to put you down. He has to put you in a dark place, and he has to nurture you, and he has to feed you, and then he develops something in you. Some of y'all are just fighting the process of getting planted. And if no one's ever forgiven you, then don't forgive anybody else. But I find that hard to believe, because if you're a Christian, I already done blown your whole argument up. So you don't have a knowledge problem. Your pastor, to me, has shown great spiritual maturity and growth by doing this. And then saying, I'm not going to preach it. He said, I'm going to bring somebody in to speak to all of us. See, some people say, we're going to do a homecoming, and then they just talked about, well, you know, some of y'all, it ain't right. So you just basically took a shot at people to get in front of them. That's not what your pastor does. So if you want an example beyond Jesus, how you forgive and you try to move forward so you can walk in your fullness of your blessing, just look at your pastor. So when you know this, it creates corporate healing within the ministry. When you look at unforgiveness, understand that higher consciousness leads to higher consequence. When your consciousness is raised and you become more informed and enlightened, now you have greater consequence to every place you go. You infect in a good way the environment that you're going in, so you don't let people come at you sideways. Well, I don't talk to them. Nah, if I don't like, you know how much energy it takes to ignore somebody you see? Oh, here they come. Oh, they gone. You got to do it. Nah, how you doing? Have a great day. It takes 2 seconds. I'm not going to let you change who I am. But when you have a higher level of consciousness, you have greater consequence everywhere you go. So who in your life haven't you forgiven? Who in your life? So let's take away the excuses and apply what we know to do. When you follow instructions, things actually go the way they're planned. If y'all anything like me, you get something out the box, you be like, I know how to do this. And then you do it, it's like, where all these extra screws come from? Right? And then the first person sitting in the chair, they fall over. See, when you don't follow the instruction, you lead to deconstruction or destruction. What instruction you haven't followed that's caused you problems in your life? Wow. For those you taking notes, write this. People will remember you for 2 things. They will remember you for the pain that you caused them, or the pain that you helped relieve in their lives. When a person walks in a room, you get a feeling associated with that person. And so people do the same thing with you. I'm not saying that you haven't been hurt. I'm not saying that you haven't gone through stuff. I'm not saying you haven't been betrayed. But if you have taken the pain that someone's inflicted upon you, now you've gone from, in your mind, a victim to a victimizer. Because the people you say that you love the most, they're not getting the most out of you. Because you're diminished in your ability to love. Can I get a witness? So people going to remember you by what pain you caused and what pain you helped relieve. The other thing is, it's not easy. It's not easy because the thing that we're dealing with was caused by some sort of pain. And all life is pain management. When you learn how to manage pain, it will determine how successful you are in life. Anything you birth, it hurt. You were conceived in a blissful moment, but you were birthed in pain. Anybody had a baby say, oh, that was wonderful. That was just exciting. That was so good. Can I do that again? You be like, what epidural, right? So you have to know that anything that God is going to birth in you, it's going to require a certain level of pain. For you to get to where you're going to have to acknowledge that thing that you have tried to ignore. See, forgiving is not forgetting. You can't forget what happened to you, just like you can't stop the oceans from coming in at times. It's a part of what happened to you. So people say forgive and forget. I'm like, what? How you do that? How do you do that? Unless you just like have, amnesia. But then you got another problem because you're going to forget good stuff too. So, right? So what I need you to understand is forgiving is not forgetting. You can't forget what happened to you, but you can allow yourself to come out of the spiritual and emotional bondage of that thing that held you. Because this is what happens. When you don't forgive, that thing in your heart and your spirit, it's on the throne. So you have to dethrone that thing and put God back on the throne of your life. Are y'all with me? And then the other thing about unforgiveness, y'all heard it said, it's like you drink poison and you hope the other person die. It's like, I'm just going to get him now. It's like, man, somebody give me a chair. It's like you about to fall out. So you have to dethrone and you have to detox. That's what forgiveness does for you. It also detoxifies the memory, and now the memory serves as a testimony of God's grace and your growth. And see, when you don't forgive people, you actually take away their humanity from them. Because there's a reason they did what they did to you. And it's probably because somebody did something to them. So we have generational curses. You ever find yourself saying something that you didn't like somebody said to you, like when you were a child, and then you say it to your child or somebody's child? It's because there's something in you that you haven't acknowledged, and you haven't gotten that toxin out of your body. I got to pick up steam and get y'all out of here. So you got to remember that when you walk around in unforgiveness, your face is hidden from God. All he sees is the unforgiveness in your heart. And because our sin is seen before our hearts, now when we follow, everywhere we go, our sin precedes us because we disconnected. I know it's getting heavy. And we've allowed the sin of unforgiveness to hide God's love within us from the others that we said we love. The other devastating element of unforgiveness, I already said it. You become what you detest. They were harmed. They went through certain things in their life, and they became very controlling. And because you felt like when you got hurt, there was a lack of control, you try to control everything in your life. So everybody come around you, nothing they do is good enough. So people start running away from you versus running towards you. Think about it. God forgives us in a single breath. For some of us, it's going to take a while, but some of you coming back here is a sign of growth and reflection. I know that there was a lot that happened to me in my life that I was very angry and upset about. But again, let me go back. When you look at Isaiah 42 and 22, there's one word that stands out to me, and that word is restore. It's set apart by a comma, and it's got a capitalized letter in my King James. Yeah. See, when you look about the definition of that restore means to turn back. God is saying, I need you to turn back to what you know because you've been given instruction. So you have chosen to be willfully disobedient, and I need you to turn back to what you know so I can be who I need you to be. We can have the fullness of our relationship together. See, here's the thing about learning. Half of learning is learning. That's pretty obvious. Okay. The other half of learning is unlearning. There's some stuff that we were taught that was wrong. There was some stuff that we believed to be true that we have. Just ignore them. Just treat them. Just do this. And so it's some things that we need to unlearn as we continue to learn. Can I get a witness? So God wants us to come back. He wants to reinstate us to that place that he has us to be. Learning is learning, and learning is unlearning. God is talking to us daily about how we should follow. Think about this. Judas and Peter had the same mentor, Jesus. But one of them went this way, and the others went that way. So we all have the same mentor or leader in life, but it's choices that we make. And then remember when Jesus was on, when they were going to say you can release one, and they were like, you can choose Jesus to go or Barabbas. And they chose Barabbas because Barabbas ain't